It was a wonderful day. It was really a dream come true to see everyone that was involved in this project from the beginning. The survivors, the donors, the partners, the ambassadors, the staff, the volunteers, all the teams come together in a real meaningful celebration, I think.
This incredible space teaches us about resilience and bravery and fortitude. Today is a commitment to continuing those lessons.
It's enormously important to have centres such as the Johannesburg Holocaust and Genocide Centre and the one in Cape Town and Durban for many reasons, but the most important being educational reasons.
So I've known Tali for a while, and one day she invited me for coffee. The minute she mentioned the potential for someone to come on board as an exhibition person, I was absolutely delighted. And here was a chance to have a deep connection with the content through my own Jewish history.
So my partner Lawrence Siegel had been working on the Holocaust and Genocide Centre for years with Tali Nates developing the content, and they brought me in to do the design about 2.5 years ago. It starts with a script, it starts with a story, and in this instance that was a very big script.
I had quite a bit of knowledge, but the whole writing of the script was a tremendous learning growth for me, and I really feel privileged to be part of a fantastic team that put together, I think, an extraordinary museum.
So it's got to be spatially interesting, it's got to be organized in such a way that it's a museum experience rather than sitting in the comfort of your chair reading about something.
And then it's our job to make those words on a page into a three-dimensional experience. How do we do it? We create design concepts, curatorial approaches, and then we go out and look for collections, and that's where the real magic starts.
And it's sequential, so there's a series of spaces. You walk through this space. As these spaces unfold, you've got to think, okay, what is the relationship between this one, between that one? Why do I have a long view here, a short view there? Why am I looking at something very intimately here? Why am I looking at something in perspective in another space there?
I think it was critical to include the Rwandan genocide because firstly we live in Africa and we need desperately to make connections between the past and the present. They need to understand the potential for these kind of atrocities and to understand their own role, to ask themselves the question, what can we do to make sure that never again is never again?
Louis Levine, the architect, I think you'll agree that this is an inspirational structure. I've been to many Holocaust centers around the world, and I think this takes a very high place in buildings of this nature.
To have something like this, a wonderful place that we see here in South Africa, is a forum for dialogue, and Tali Nates and her team are doing just that.
So for me, you could not do just a Rwandan genocide museum or just a Holocaust museum. You have to do both, and you have to connect it to today. The permanent exhibition is standing at over 420 square meters and explore the history of genocide in the 20th century, starting with Namibia.
The thing about designing a project of this scale is that there are hundreds of people who work on it. There are so many people who need recognition in the process.
About a decade ago, Tali approached me. Because I'd done quite a lot of work for the Cape Town Holocaust Centre, I said to her, look, even though this is only in a few years' time, let's interview everyone now, because we all know what's going to happen. Making the films wasn't so much the challenge. Finding the archive material to illustrate the protagonists and their experiences was, and tracing that material took time.
But believe me, the thousands of hours that have gone into every single component is worth thinking about.
We had a very basic collection to start off with here, provided by one collector in Glen Hazel. But over the years, people have come forward with the most incredible objects. But there is a moment where I was overwhelmed. And that was the moment where we opened the boxes of clothing from Rwanda. And it was a moment when I realized the huge responsibility and the huge task in making this museum.
The collegiality and collaboration that we enjoy is in fact rare in the world of Holocaust centres around the globe. and very, very special, and a huge source of pride to the foundation.
You know, and it started with that Let's Talk in 2007, and his dream and my dream then became this center that we're standing here 12 years later, 11 years later.
I came here to the opening and just to be a witness to this kind of wonderful space, if I may use the word wonderful, because I think it's a very powerful testimony to the memory of victims of the Holocaust and the genocide in Rwanda.
I'm very honored to be here, standing here as a Rwandan genocide survivor of 1994. I'm humbled also to see history of Rwanda genocide being remembered and told even beyond Rwanda.
I think it's important to have a conversation across different histories, different groups, so that we can learn from them.
I never wanted a museum where you come once, you say, it's great, you'll tell someone else to come, but it's not a living place.
It grabs you here. It just catches you and it tells the story so well. Yeah, that this can happen again. So it isn't focused only on the Holocaust, but the lessons we can learn from it.
Well, Germans and Jews will be bound together for eternity by what has happened in the Shoah and the Holocaust.
We have been instrumental in supporting building the exhibition, and we are very happy that we could, with support of the German government, and we believe the history of the Shoah, the history of the Holocaust, the history of the genocides is necessary for modern South Africa to know.
It's really important for young people and the community at large to understand what can happen if prejudice and racism is left to go unchecked.
I really believe in what Tali is doing in educating the younger members of our society about genocide.
It's one of the rare places to show two genocides in the same place, so it will push the new generation to think really what makes people kill.
Being in Africa and witnessing and documenting and showing a genocide that has taken on African grounds is very important in that sense. So I commend Tali and her team.
Something like that does not happen with one person. It's a huge team of people.
Exhibitions are complex and difficult processes, and we work in a very strong multidisciplinary team of curators, designers, shop fitters, editors, and I think that when I stand here today as the curator, I'm standing here on behalf of that team.
So many gifted and talented people that worked with us as a team. Unbelievable.
I'm so moved by your commitment and the work you do that represents so beautifully Never Again.
Yeah, I hope kids or parents who will visit this space get some message of let's work together so that this thing doesn't happen again.
It is here. It's here to stay for many, many, many years to come. I believe it will be a public space of dialogue, and I'm very excited for that.